Today on the Rockbridge Report, a new vaccination site makes itself at home in Petersburg, and hundreds of people lined up to greet it. We'll tell you about vaccination locations coming to a store near you. And thunderstorms and tornadoes shake the South.
Home just heavily damaged, still home just now.
We'll update you on the storm's path before you hit the road this weekend. And the tables turn for a local university lacrosse team. We'll tell you who took home the victory and surprise crowds. All that and more next.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news from Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Lily Mott. Later, I'll be joined by co-anchor Carly Snyder. Andrew Arnold will update you on today's rainstorms, and Sean Lee will share the latest in sports. The man accused of killing 8 people at Metro Atlanta massage parlors did not appear in court today. 21-year-old Robert Aaron Long was scheduled for a hearing in Cherokee County. His attorney requested that hearing be canceled, but did not provide a reason for making that request. Long faces 8 counts of murder and 1 count of aggravated assault. He is accused of shooting 8 people at 3 different spas in Atlanta and the suburbs on Tuesday. The hearing has not yet been rescheduled. The shooting is drawing widespread attention to an increase in hate crimes and violence against Asian Americans. Most of the victims on Tuesday were Asian women. And as Britt Conway reports, the tragedy is adding to the fear Asian Americans are already facing.
People around the world are talking about what happened here. Shootings at 3 spas in Metro Atlanta. 8 people are dead and 6 were Asian women. Police say suspect Robert Aaron Long told them the shootings weren't about race. They were about eliminating sexual temptation. But Georgia officials are investigating whether the shootings can be prosecuted as hate crimes. Either way, it's adding to outrage and anxiety over rising violence against Asian Americans. Advocacy group Stop AAPI Hate reports receiving almost 3,800 complaints from mid-March 2020 through February.
Many of my family members are living in fear.
I think the rhetoric from our previous administration was definitely the catalyst for all of this.
Here's what this administration has to say.
We stand with you and understand how this has frightened and shocked and outraged.
President Joe Biden is instructing officials to hold listening sessions in Atlanta. And on this issue, people have a lot to say, from politicians in Georgia.
I think this country has a reluctance to admit that there is very real and deep-rooted systemic racism that does result in violence.
To governors of other states, former President Barack Obama, advocates.
A lot of Asian Americans who are looking over their shoulders when they go outside, when they go to the grocery store.
And foreign leaders, all pleading for change. I'm Britt Conway, reporting.
President Biden and Vice President Harris will be in Atlanta tomorrow to meet with Asian American community leaders. The pair were already scheduled to travel to Georgia to tout the $1.9 trillion COVID-19 relief bill, but the trip took on new meaning after the shootings. It's getting a little easier for Virginia residents to roll up their sleeves for a COVID-19 shot. A new mass vaccination site debuted in Petersburg in Virginia State University's Multipurpose Center. There were hundreds of people waiting outside of the facility before it opened Wednesday morning. Close to 1 out of every 8 Americans are now fully vaccinated, according to data from the CDC. The Central Shenandoah Health District's vaccine efforts are improving because of an increase in vaccine supply and the availability of the single-dose Johnson & Johnson shot. Avalon Purnell has the details.
A vaccine center in Rockbridge County is open and ramping up, just as the state's vaccine supply is increasing and COVID-19 cases are declining in this district. Rockbridge County leased the building that used to house Peebles and then Gordman's department stores in the College Square Shopping Center on Route 11 to serve as a key vaccine center for the area. Virginia Military Institute Emergency Management Director Jay Williams says the Virginia Department of Health, Rockbridge Area Health Center, and Carilion Rockbridge Community Hospital will use the facility.
Now, in our community, each one of those groups, when they have their distribution of vaccines, will go to that location and run their respective pod.
Health District spokesperson Laura Lee White says the process of getting shots in people's arms should speed up in the coming weeks, with more vaccines available from the state and other official sources. This week, the Health District began vaccinating people in Phase 1B, who are between 16 and 65 with health conditions or disabilities.
When we move to Phase 1C and even Phase 2, it's not going to be because we've finished every single group in Phase 1A and Phase 1B, right? It's going to be multiple simultaneous vaccine opportunities.
She says people could move ahead in line if they switched jobs or received a health diagnosis.
So I might get a new job where I'm now an essential worker in Phase 1B, whereas before I was just, maybe I was just in Phase 2.
White says changes in eligibility make it more important to enlist help from community organizations to meet people where they are.
So we're working with the NAACP down in Rockbridge, as well as many other community partners in Rockbridge, Lexington, Buena Vista.
NAACP's Health Committee Chair, Keith Klein, says the organization knew it needed to get involved when the state centralized pre-registration.
We were all thinking the same thing, which was a drive to get people pre-registered so that they have an opportunity to receive the vaccine.
Last weekend, the NAACP registered 21 people at Glasgow Community Center, Ramsey Education Center, Richardson Park, and Frank's Pizza in Fairfield. NAACP Vice President Marquita Dunn says the effort is paying off.
We do see light at the end of the tunnel, but to see the big picture, everybody needs to take the vaccine.
I'm outside Richardson Park, where the NAACP will be back to register Lexington residents this weekend. Volunteers will also be back at Glasgow Community Center, Ramsey Education Center, and Frank's Pizza in Fairfield from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. this Saturday. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Avalon Purnell.
Stimulus checks have started arriving in millions of American bank accounts. For many people, the money hoped to spur consumer spending will instead go to pay overdue bills. CNN's Vanessa Yurkovich has the story.
We've given up so much as a family already. It's just scary to think that we might be losing more.
It's been a year of sacrifice and uncertainty for Ashley Ordonez, Kyle Price, and their 5 children in Denver, Colorado.
Jay, where are you hiding?
They drained their savings and sold her wedding ring, all to survive.
That was a tough one.
It's just a piece of material, and it's a means to an end for my business.
Like 100 million other Americans, they're eligible for stimulus checks as part of President Joe Biden's COVID relief package. They could get up to $8,400 for their family, which they say will go straight into their wellness studio that's been surviving month to month. The checks will give them one more.
It's keeping our dream alive.
In Arkansas, Nikki Martin's check arrived just in time.
It has kept a roof over my head and kept my lights on.
Martin just finished months of aggressive chemo treatment when the pandemic started.
I didn't get to celebrate being cancer-free for very long before this hit.
Without a job, she filed for disability checks and is still waiting, making her ineligible for unemployment. But when that $1,400 in stimulus hit her bank account, she breathed a sigh of relief.
I just immediately got online and paid every bill I had and got caught up for the first time in months.
And Madeline Aguiar, out of work for the last year, has spent much of it here, applying to hundreds of jobs.
I've had to move from where I lived before in New Jersey to my parents' house in the Bronx.
Aguiar said she lost her job in hospitality when the industry was crushed by the pandemic. With work hard to come by, she's found herself in debt and receiving a stimulus check, both for the first time.
When you think about $1,400, does that seem like a lot?
Not in comparison to the debt I've had to incur.
Do you see a way out of the debt in the near future?
I think the only way out really is to get a job.
For many Americans, stimulus checks will make a difference. But for Ashley and Kyle, who put their house up for collateral to insure their business, it's simply not enough.
Any extra income goes straight to the business so that we don't lose this house. It's kind of the last thing we have. So it's really scary thinking about me. There's
thoughts of the future too much to bear, especially one so uncertain.
If it came down to it that
Only people who make less than $75,000 are entitled to the full stimulus amount. More payments are expected to go out in the coming weeks. The new Augusta Health Buena Vista Primary Care Clinic opened in Buena Vista on March 1st. The clinic offers primary care appointments and is located on 2054 Sycamore Avenue. Dr. Kathy Bogax said that Augusta opened the clinic to expand healthcare access in Buena Vista and Rockbridge County. A 2018 Rockbridge Area Community Health Assessment Report identified limited access to care services as urgent health issues in the country. Bogax said her patients appreciate that they can walk to the clinic from their homes. A group of Republican senators has signed a letter asking the Government Accountability Office to review President Joe Biden's suspension of border wall construction. West Virginia Senator Shelley Moore Capito penned the letter. 39 GOP colleagues signed it, including Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell and Senator Richard Shelby, the ranking member of the Senate Appropriations Committee. Biden stopped border wall construction and froze congressional funds appropriated to build it in January. The letter blames those actions for the current influx of migrants and accompanied minors crossing the US-Mexico border. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki told reporters today that the Biden administration is committed to being transparent about that influx, but that access to border facilities is limited.
We remain committed to sharing with all of you data on the number of kids crossing the border, the steps we're taking, the work we're doing to open up facilities, our own bar we're setting for ourselves, and improving and expediting the timeline and the treatment of these children. And we remain committed to transparency. I don't have an update for you on the timeline for access, but it's certainly something we support.
Emergency calls are going unanswered in Rockbridge County. County Fire Chief Nathan Ramsey says most of the county's 300 volunteers have day jobs, and only 16 fire and rescue department staff members are full-time, so there isn't always someone to pick up the phone. Between February 2020 and 2021, county fire departments failed to answer about 9% of calls. One in Natural Bridge missed about 30%. When the pandemic started, the county approved funds to increase volunteer pay and hire 2 floater staff members. The proposed 2022 county budget would continue this funding. The next budget meeting is set for March 22nd. Some Lexington citizens and city officials don't like several antennas that have been installed on the top of a downtown hotel. T-Mobile installed 8 cell antennas on top of the Gin Hotel at the end of February. The antennas use reflective material that is supposed to make them less visible, but the antennas can be seen clearly from the streets below. Mayor Frank Friedman said there is nothing the city can do about the antennas now, but he says he is trying to figure out how city policies could be changed to keep it from happening again. When we come back, we take a look at changes being made to an old ritual at Virginia Military Institute and why it matters to the school's Black students.
We've got some storms heading our way this evening. We'll show you the damage this storm series did to our neighbors down south.
And later, Sean Lee tells you about an Oklahoma freshman in the spotlight of the March Madness Showdown. Don't go away, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Carly Snyder. Graduation is around the corner for high school and college students in Rockbridge County. Many plans for those ceremonies are still up in the air, but Governor Ralph Northam announced yesterday that schools and colleges can hold outdoor ceremonies with up to 5,000 attendees. Capacity at outdoor ceremonies will be restricted to 5,000 people, or 30% of the venue's capacity, whichever is less. Mask and social distancing are still required for all attendees. Virginia Military Institute has made changes to an old disciplinary tradition on post. The school is no longer announcing the expelled students' names during so-called drumouts. The practice involves waking up the entire corps of cadets in the middle of the night. 2 cadets were drummed out early Tuesday after they admitted to cheating on a math assignment. The cadets were not identified, as they would have been in the past. The change to the ritual is being made amid a state-ordered investigation into racism at VMI. The Washington Post reported last year that Black students were being disproportionately expelled and shamed by name in drumout ceremonies. 3 Rockbridge County High School students will compete in the Virginia High School League Forensic State Championship on March 27th. Hallie Darmonte competes in storytelling, and her older brother Blake competes in the impromptu category. It is their first year on the speech and debate team. Coach Amanda Burke says they have the potential to place in their categories, and she knows they'll have fun doing it. Read the full story at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu. When we come back, heavy rains and winds are turning things upside down across the South. We'll tell you what conditions to expect as the storm moves in.
And later, I'll break down the March Madness bracket and tell you what to expect from this weekend's games.
Stay with us. We'll be back in just 2 minutes.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Andrew Arnold. Winds in Alabama yesterday had a mind of their own. Take a look at this clip. Tornadoes and heavy gusts tore roofs from homes and limbs from trees in the storm. Alabama residents addressed the damage this morning once the storm had moved on. The storm damaged windows on cars and homes, scattering debris and uprooted trees. We expect that same storm to hit us as a thunderstorm this evening, and the rain should stick around through tomorrow morning. Relatively warmer day today in Lexington with a high of 58, low of 40. Barometric pressure sitting at 29 and 7/10 inches of mercury. Wind speeds relatively low at 5 miles an hour. However, humidity up at 96%, yielding a lot of the storms we're seeing across the state today. Most of these storms are seen west of Charlottesville in a scattered fashion as they move north through the mountains. Currently in Lexington it's 52 degrees and cloudy, Buena Vista 52 and rainy, down in Lynchburg 50 and cloudy, up in Stanton 52 cloudy, and just nearby in Charlottesville 51 and cloudy, in the western part of the state in Covington 52 and cloudy, and down in Roanoke 50 and rainy. This rain will cool off things as we move into Friday with morning showers at the high of 50, low of 30. Things will heat up though this weekend with a high of 58, low of 33 and sunny on Saturday, and on Sunday, high of 61, low of 36 and sunny. Moving into Monday, high of 64, low of 41 and partly cloudy skies, and a little bit warmer on Tuesday with a high of 62, low of 48 and partly cloudy skies. That's all from weather, and be sure to stay safe tonight. Next on the Rockbridge Report, Southern Virginia University takes home an unexpected win against a local rival.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Sean Lee, and it's time to talk sports. March Madness has yet to begin, but the month of March has already seen its first major upset. Last night, Southern Virginia University shocked the Washington Lee men's lacrosse team with a 17-12 victory. Washington Lee normally marks SVU down as an easy win, but that wasn't the case Wednesday night. Junior tackman Zach Daneman totaled 9 goals and 1 assist to lead the Southern Virginia men's lacrosse team to a victory over 18th-ranked Washington Lee. Washington Lee baseball also faltered as they fell to 1-4 yesterday with a 14-5 loss over 19th-ranked Shenandoah. The team, looking to bounce back, plays at home this Saturday with a doubleheader versus Lynchburg. But all eyes in the sports world are on the March Madness tournament, which is underway as of minutes ago with the first 4 play-in games. Gonzaga, Baylor, Illinois, and Michigan come into the tournament as the 1 seeds. Gonzaga comes in as the heavy favorite after an undefeated regular season, while Michigan was the weakest number 1 seed, with some saying that SEC champion Alabama deserved the 1 seed in the Eastern bracket. The Big 12 champion Texas Longhorns are also in the Eastern bracket, which looks to be wide open. Analysts are projecting this year could be even more unpredictable than ever after the COVID-ravaged season. The University of Virginia comes into the tournament as a 4 seed, but after having to miss the ACC tournament due to positive COVID tests and not being able to practice, the Cavaliers surely face an uphill battle. Some are even calling them to be a popular pick, to be upset in the first round to 13th-ranked Ohio. Another popular pick has been the 12th-ranked Winthrop over Villanova. But the same cannot be said for another 4th-ranked team, the Oklahoma State Cowboys. All eyes are on Cade Cunningham for the next few weeks. The OSU freshman is likely the number 1 pick in this year's NBA draft, and he is playing as well as anyone in college basketball over the second half of the season. He has carried the Cowboys against the best of the best in the Big 12 and looks to continue it coming up. The bracket of 64 begins tomorrow at 12:15 with the 7th-seeded Florida Gators taking on the 10th-seed Virginia Tech Hokies. The tournament goes until April 5th, with all games being held in the Indianapolis area. Well, that's all for sports. Lily, back to you.
A kindergarten teacher near New York has missed hugs from her students because of COVID, until someone came up with what they call a hugging machine. Jennifer McLogan reports.
We made a hugging machine, so now she can hug everyone in the world.
5-year-old Avery Green and his parents, Kathy and Al, healthcare workers, did something unexpected.
I've been really isolated, not just because of COVID, but because of the cancer.
Breast cancer, stage 4, unable to be with her Aquabog students in person. Carrie Stromsky is teaching kindergarten remotely while going through chemo and radiation.
And it was hard because the parents, they all know, I'm very honest with my families. And they all had to say, no, you can't hug Mrs. Stromsky.
We just wanted to keep Carrie safe because she's sick. She kept saying that she missed hugging her babies. So we just wanted to make something so she could have a way.
We made it out of a shower curtain and we cut holes. And then you start hugging.
So when Avery showed up with the hug machine.
The surprise bringing smiles amid tears.
A touching moment, something so small, but it went a long way.
How does that feel to hug your teacher?
Good.
Yeah, one of the biggest things of being a kindergarten teacher is the hugs.
Mrs. Stromsky has overcome every obstacle in her way, and she's done it all for the students.
Carrie is doing all she can to keep the magic alive. Her next plan is for a hug parade featuring all her students and parents.
Hug parade. She's decided everyone could come and get hugs.
Yes, well, I told them I would do a hug parade when I'm a little bit better.
Embracing, bringing healing in Aquabog. I'm Jennifer McLogan, CBS 2 News.
Thank you for watching the Rockbridge Report. I'm Lily Mott. Join us on Tuesday at 3:30 for a live news update, and visit rockbridgereport.wlu.edu for the latest in national and local news. Thanks for joining us.